Each time a racist killer is acquitted, has charges dismissed, or isn't even indicted, others are emboldened to do more of the same. Too many have fallen victim to unprosecuted hate crimes. Say their names with us at the end of this video.
We're a concerned group of clergy seeking justice for Ahmaud Arbery. We encourage you to join us in speaking truth to power. And we appreciate those police officers who serve and protect our communities with integrity, but we're calling for legal consequences against those who abuse their power.
More than a decade ago, an unarmed 23-year-old Sean Elijah Bell was cut down in a hail of over 50 bullets fired at him by New York City police officers. Although criminal charges, were filed against 3 of the 5 officers involved, a judge later dismissed them.
There was no justice for Sean Bell or any of the others discussed in this video. That's why we are an interfaith clergy alliance coming together from across the country to encourage you to join us in calling for legal consequences in the case against Ahmaud Arbery's killers.
8 years ago, 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was walking home from a convenience store with a bag of Skittles and a bottle of iced tea, and he was shot and killed by an overzealous neighborhood watch volunteer. After public outcry, his killer was charged with second-degree murder, though ultimately he was acquitted.
George Zimmerman's father is a judge. His connections to the court contributed to the attempted cover-up in Sanford, Florida. The same thing happened in Brunswick, Georgia, with retired police officer Greg McMichael.
4 senseless murders of Black men in the same year. Not one of them considered a crime. Join us in calling for consequences this time.
7 years ago, Jonathan Farrell, a 24-year-old college football player, was shot 10 times by a Charlotte, Mecklenburg police officer while seeking help after a car accident. In one of the rare instances where an aggressive officer was charged and brought to trial, the case ended as a mistrial with a hung jury. No conviction.
6 years ago in July, unarmed 43-year-old Eric Garner was choked to death by a New York City police officer. The crime was captured on videotape. The United States Department of Justice did not file federal civil rights charges against the officer.
On August the 5th, John Crawford III was shopping in a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio. He was gunned down by 2 police officers. A grand jury failed to indict Crawford's killers.
5 days later, unarmed 18-year-old Michael Brown Jr. was killed by a Ferguson, Missouri police officer. His body was left in the street for 4 hours. No charges were filed against the officer who killed him.
That November, Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy, became the 4th Black male to be killed by police. Rice was shot and killed within seconds of Cleveland, Ohio police pulling up to the playground. The officers did not take the time to identify themselves or ask Tamir to put down the toy gun. Despite discrepancies in their accounts before the grand jury, neither officer was charged with the crime.
A long string of heinous crimes against young Black men without any legal ramifications. Let's do all we can to get justice for Ahmaud.
5 years ago, 25-year-old Freddie Gray died from spinal injuries resulting from his neck being snapped while he was in the custody of Baltimore police officers. There were no federal civil rights charges.
The Arbery family
is facing a long legal road ahead. Let's do what we can to help them, fellow clergy, in their struggle for justice to prevail against their murderers, the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery.
4 years ago, on July 5th, 37-year-old Alton Sterling was shot dead at close range by 2 police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for selling CDs. Their use of excessive force was captured by bystanders, cell phones, and security cameras, yet no state or federal charges were filed.
The very next day, 32-year-old Philando Castile was shot 7 times within 40 seconds of a routine traffic stop in St. Anthony, Minnesota. Despite dashcam footage and cell phone video, the officer was acquitted.
Just 2 months later, in September, 40-year-old Terence Crutcher, an unarmed black man, was having car trouble in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 4 police officers arrived on the scene. One of them shot and killed Crutcher. The shooting was deemed tragic, but justified.
On February the 23rd, unarmed 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was jogging. He was shot by former police officer Gregory McMichael and his son Travis McMichael. The father-son duo grabbed their shotguns, got in their pickup truck, and chased Ahmaud down as if they were hunting for sport. They had 2 accomplices. Had the public not seen the video, there would not have been any arrests.
In order to ensure that justice prevails in Ahmaud's case, we need to keep the political pressure on. Call the authorities, sign the petition, and donate towards the family's legal battle.
So many sisters and brothers snuffed out because of the color of their skin. We're clergy calling for consequences because something must be done to change this trajectory.
Lest we forget those who rest in power, whose killers were not convicted despite the preponderance of evidence against them. Please say their names. Amadou Diallo, Traveris McGill, Sean Bell, Ayanna Stanley Jones, Oscar Grant, Kenneth Chamberlain, Trayvon Martin, Rekia Boyd, Kimani Gray, Jonathan Farrell, Eric Garner, John Crawford, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, Betty Jones, Quintonio LeGrier, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Terence Crutcher, Stefan Clark, Breonna Taylor.
May the fallen rest in power, and may justice be served in the trials that are pending.
We are clergy coming together across denominational and ethnic lines to seek justice for Ahmaud Arbery. Please join our call for consequences. Sign the petition, donate to the family's legal battle, call officials in Georgia, and invite your family and friends to do the same. And certainly we're hoping that you will join us.